evening. I'm Michelle Beadle. This is my co-host, Bill Simmons. You probably know him from taking over ESPN. We would like to welcome you to the 2014 Fantasy Draft Selection Studio Show. Again, I'm Michelle Beadle. You probably know me from hosting maybe the most pointless show on ESPN.
Joel Embiid. Well, there's always First Take, Michelle. I mean, it's not, First Take is definitely worse. And I like the fireplace. This is a neat setup. I really like this.
I'm sorry, Bill. Just before we get started, did you say Joel Embiid?
Joel Embiid. I did say Joel Embiid. I have kind of a strange voice, and Joel Embiid is sort of it's like a tick. It brings me back to what my voice sounds like. When I say Joel Embiid, I just really, my voice just tends to come out better. So it's just a tick. Joel Embiid is how I start my sentences.
Okay, Bill, I don't really get that, but we'll roll with it. So as you guys know, this year, everyone is returning from 2013, so that's very exciting, as you can maybe tell by the tone of my voice, and also my inflection. But it's very exciting. Now, let's take a vote, Bill. I don't know if you've seen my show, but I like to take votes. I like to have other people vote on things, and I like to guess and see which thing people voted for more. It's awesome. So today, we're going to vote on whether this selection show is awesome or not awesome. So which one do you vote for? I vote awesome.
Joel Embiid. I would definitely vote awesome, but I kind of feel out of place without my friend Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose was a player in the NBA. You know Jalen Rose? He's my buddy, and I just feel kind of out of place without Jalen Rose. So.
I actually...
Jalen!
Anyway, Bill, I don't know how you interact with other female co-anchors, but that's not me. So I have had my picture taken actually before with Jalen Rose. I don't know if you've seen it or heard that rumor, but it's true. I did, and it was I like Jalen, fine. I also tried to have my picture taken once with Aaron Rodgers, but that guy, I don't know.
Yeah, I heard he wasn't down with taking a picture with you.
He wasn't, but it's okay. I actually ended up settling for having my picture taken with Clay Matthews.
I heard that too. Joel Embiid, I don't know why ESPN put me here because they call me the sports guy. I literally have not watched a sporting event that is not the NBA in about 10 years. So I don't even know how football works at this point.
Well, Bill, it's okay because I actually left ESPN, tried to have a career elsewhere. Did you know that in other networks they actually require you to work, do stuff?
Joel Embiid, that's weird. I never work. Jalen and I just literally sit in a room and talk to each other all day and get paid millions of dollars.
No, I decided it's much more comfortable to come back, get paid by ESPN, and then just, criticize the other people at ESPN for their work or for not respecting women.
Joel Embiid, exactly.
Yes. So anyway, we're getting off topic here. We are here tonight to determine the draft order for the 2014 season. It's very exciting. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but it is. We're very excited.
Joel Embiid, it's the second most exciting draft of the year next to the NBA draft. And before we get started, we have something prepared.
Do we, Bill?
Joel Embiid, I was told we did.
We do. I'm just messing with you. It's just something I do. But we do have something prepared. We actually are going to take a look at last season and go through the MVPs for the 2013 season.
Oh, what's up, guys? It's been a good year, hasn't it? Unlike my fantasy season last year. I just want to give a big thank you to the MVP of my team last year, Trent Richardson. You were my keeper, Trent. You were supposed to be a top 10 running back. You were not a top 10 running back. You had 3 rushing touchdowns all year. You know who had more rushing touchdowns than you? Christian Ponder. That's true. But you know what? It's a new year, it's a new season, and I'm ready for another championship. And you're not going to be holding me back again this year, Trent. No way. No way.
I'd like to take a minute to thank Michael Vick for taking a giant dump on any chance that I've ever had in winning a championship. Every year I put my hope and my trust in you, thinking that this will be the year, and then you go and bone me. So thanks a lot, Michael Vick.
Just want to holler at my boy real quick, Steven Jackson, for being everything I thought you would be last year. Extremely subpar starting running back that I would instantly regret drafting to my team. Everyone told me that you would have a better year because you were going to be in Atlanta and you would get the carries. and I knew better, and I did it anyway. I panicked, and I chose you, and I instantly regretted it. So thank you for single-handedly sinking my team.
David Wilson. I can put up with you fumbling the ball and crying on the sidelines. I can even put up with mediocre fantasy games. What I won't accept is negative fantasy points. When you scored negative 2.1 points in week 1, it was decided right then and there you could never, ever, ever be on one of my teams again. I hope you never succeed in football for the rest of your career.
A letter. Dear Doug Martin, thank you so much. Thank you for being the worst number 2 pick in the history of fantasy football. Thank you for submarining our team's season. And thank you for being so awful that I get out of being recognized here. Sincerely, Mike Wallace.
And I'm looking forward to 2014. I think it's going to be a good year for me. I can finally be parted from the Ravens running back that, hey, diddle, diddle, you didn't do anything for me last season. But because of the current situation that's surrounding him, I cannot mention his name legally. Instead, I'm going to say the player that made my team look so bad last year was Mr. Peyton Manning, the best player in fantasy football last year. You can't imagine how frustrating it is to have the best point getter in all of football and still not make the playoffs. That hurts a whole lot. It hurts real bad. Thank you, Mr. Peyton Manning.
Dear Josh Gordon, you were my team's actual MVP. Your greatness and my genius combined meant you would have been my keeper, but you couldn't put down a joint, and I was furious. And I got to thinking, you have a few $100,000, you couldn't have bought cranberry juice or anything to help you pass a piss test. But I understand. I wouldn't want to play for Cleveland either.
Joel Embiid. Joining us via satellite is a guy that has an even more annoying voice than me, Colin Cowherd, and he's going to be with a special guest to make the picks.
Bray, it's the Herd on ESPN Radio, wherever you may be and however you may be doing. Thank you for making us part of your day. And we're here to do the picks, and I am with Brian Hoyer. Now, Brian, here's the thing about me. I know more. People always ask me, Colin, how do you know so much about the NFL? I just do. I just know a lot about the NFL. And I know more than most people at ESPN. But Brian, I want to be honest, I had no idea you look like this. Okay, like long hair, ponytail. You came in here, I was like, that can't be Brian Hoyer, can it?
Well, the thing is, Colin, no one actually knows what I look like because no one's ever seen me.
No one's ever seen you before, but all of a sudden this offseason you've become a really good quarterback. People really think you're good. What possible reason could that be? Because I'm going to be honest, I thought you were terrible last year and the year before. People always ask me, Colin, what about Brian Hoyer? Good, bad, career backup. Career backup. And now, all of a sudden, starter in the NFL? I don't see it, Brian. I don't see it.
Well, Colin, I'm going to choose not to be incredibly insulted by that comment. But no, I am good. And that's why you're hearing that, because I'm good. I've been on the Browns for an amount of time, and they have decided that
that's boring, Brian. That's really boring. We on a radio show, we gotta get people to listen. And to do that, we gotta make it entertaining. So let's get started with pick number 10.
All right, Colin.
And here, we have the picks. Go ahead.
With pick number 10 in the 2014 draft, Scott.
Joel Embiid. Scott Becker's summer was highlighted by an incredible moment. A moment that took years of hard work to get to. A moment he spent nights dreaming about. A moment that when it finally arrived, filled him with so much joy that he was literally brought to tears. Oh, no. We're not talking about Scott's graduation from law school. No. We're talking, of course, about Scott's beloved San Antonio Spurs winning the 2014 NBA championship.
Yes, but, Bill, this did actually bring joy to all of us because two things I'll tell you. First, the end of the current Miami Heat team. Second, second, an end to Scott's complaining about poor officiating and how long it's been since the Spurs have won a title.
Yeah, Scott, we have to say that if you at 25 years old can produce a picture of yourself attending a game from the last time your team won a championship, it's probably not as long a wait as you thought it was.
Welcome back, pick number 9.
We're really moving right along here. Brian. I don't know why I said that weird. Brian.
That was weird.
Last year, Peyton Manning may have produced one of the greatest fantasy seasons of all time. There's a great chance that no one in our league even knows that.
Joel Embiid. Yeah, last year, 2013, Peyton Manning was irrelevant in our league, and it takes a special kind of team to do that. But that's the kind of team that Brian Cummins assembled. When Peyton Manning is dragging you to a 9th place finish, you went really wrong somewhere.
But Bill, that was Brian Cummins. This year, we have the new and improved Brian Cummins.
Dr. Brian Cummins. Joel Embiid, that's right. Dr. Cummins this year will use his doctoral brain to try and build a much better team than he had last year.
And which one's better, Bill? Dr. Cummins, not Dr. Cummins.
I don't even need Jalen for this one. Dr. Cummins.
Trust him. He's a doctor.
Pick number 8. Don't laugh at me, Brian. That's rude. Incredibly rude. Incredibly rude.
I'm so sorry.
People laugh at me all the time because they're like, Colin, what's the point of your show? You're between Mike and Mike.
Corey.
Joel Embiid. We have to hand it to Corey. After pulling off what might have been the worst fantasy draft in league history... Oh, no, wait, no. Let's review this. Okay, pick 1, Chris Johnson, who Corey promised would go for 2,000 yards last season. Nope.
No. Pick 2, Julio Jones. A great pick, admittedly, but only until he suffered a season-ending injury.
Pick 3 was Andre Johnson, who demanded both a trade from the Texans and from Corey's fantasy team.
Then, pick 4, David Wilson? Who? Okay, wait, pause. On my show, we can only vote between 2 things. So which one of these players is the worst pick? But we can only pick 2. So let's pick Chris Johnson or David Wilson. I vote Chris Johnson.
David Wilson.
Okay, up to you.
Everything's a good answer. Most people would have quit. But instead, Joel Embiid, Corey spent every waking hour, and we may not be exaggerating here, rebuilding his fantasy team. And this resulted in...
one of the greatest comebacks of all time. Corey actually rode this new crew all the way to the league championship game.
In the 3 seasons of this league, Joel Embiid, Corey has not had a year where he finished below the semifinals, so we know he's going to be a tough competitor this year.
He is. Hopefully, Bill, that new coaching position he has will distract him from fantasy.
Joel Embiid, but we hear rumors that his pick for keeper might be CJ Spiller, which means we probably won't need a distraction at all.
Welcome back to pick number 7, and joining me now is Johnny Mansell, who has replaced Brian Hoyer after the 3 picks. And I gotta say, Johnny, it didn't take quite as long for you to get here as I thought it would.
I don't regret that at all.
No, I don't regret it either, Johnny. Now, here's the thing about you, okay? You went to some parties. I don't know why that's a problem, but it's a problem. A lot of people tell me I'm not supposed to like you, so I don't like you. What do you say to that?
Well, I believe going to parties is in my rights. I don't regret anything about what I've done. Because it's in my rights.
It is within your rights. So we'll go ahead and leave it at that right now. Here is pick number 7.
Is Eric.
Joel Embiid. Every picture we're able to find of Eric seems to be of him smugly smoking a cigar. And we can only assume that that's the fault of the league for making fantasy life way too easy on Eric last season.
It's true. After winning the league 2 years ago, we allowed Eric to choose his spot in the draft, enabling him to put Jamal Charles and Adrian Peterson on the same team. I have to say, I'd be smugly smoking cigars as well if that were my team.
Wow, smugly smoking cigars. Say that 13 times fast. That was pretty good, Michelle. That was pretty good. Good job. Good job. Good job by you, Michelle.
Thanks, Bill.
Anyway, Eric was finally brought down last season, Joel Embiid, by Corey in the semifinals in what was undoubtedly the greatest fantasy matchup in the history of the league. Sort of like Game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals.
Yes. But we actually plan on making Eric work for it this year, making him draft his own team and stand on his own 2 feet. That way he doesn't have time to just, I don't know, take glamour shots at his cat.
Pick number 6.
Alrighty. Just want to say this next pick, it's for the regime.
I don't get that.
It's alright.
I don't get that.
Ooh, it's Nick.
Oh, we're on live TV. Oops. My bad.
This is why Nick can't have nice things. Last year, given the number 2 overall pick, Nick shrewded it, choosing Doug Martin, a completely unproven commodity. Can anyone remember? Do we need to take a vote? Can anyone remember? Remember, not remember? I don't know. Can anyone remember the last time the number 2 overall pick ended up on the waiver wire to end the season?
I don't remember. Joel Embiid. Nick spent the rest of the season grasping at straws, talking trash he couldn't back up, spending way too much time taking solace in a victory over Corey, still an amazing win, and delusionally believing that Mike Wallace would save his season. Nick did end up making the playoffs, but he lost in the first round, proving that he's not worthy of the upper echelon fantasy players yet. He's not in the pantheon. Nick is not a pantheon fantasy player yet.
However, he did beat his wife this year, so there is that. First time ever.
Yeah. Thank Joel Embiid. Thank heavens for small victories, because if it wasn't for that, Nick would never have any.
Pick number 5. What you doing there?
Just rolling up this bill.
Oh! Well, that's a 10. I thought you were supposed to roll hundreds.
Johnny takes 10s. It's okay. Mary.
Mary's second season in the league was enough to make you think that her first season was complete beginner's luck.
Joel Embiid. After coming in second in the league her first year, well then, Mary, runner-up, that's pretty cool. She came in dead last year when her team was led by Arian Foster and Darren McFadden.
However, current news reports indicate that she may have drafted that entire team from a hospital bed.
What?
Yes, it's incredible. But Bill, what's more incredible? Drafting from a hospital bed or not drafting from a hospital bed? Let's take a vote.
Joel Embiid, drafting from a hospital bed.
I would have to agree with you here, Bill. Drafting from a hospital bed. It wins 97%.
Absolutely. And it's drafting from a hospital bed earned her the complete respect of the league. Like the way I respected Larry Bird when he scored that points that one time against Dominique Wilkins in the 88 Game 7 semifinal. Do you remember that?
Sure.
Kind of like that, yeah. Anyway, she has the respect of the league, and until someone tops that draft story by doing something equally as crazy, say drafting from a fiance's birthday party.
Whoa, is that more crazy? Do we need to take a vote?
Uh,
I don't know. Okay, continue.
No way to know. But Joel Embiid, she will be the complete badass of the league until then.
Pick 4.
The 4th pick is Kobe.
After having maybe the most impressive fantasy draft of all time last season, Kobe may not even draft himself. And as someone whose newfound strategy is to stand pat with his drafted team, it may not be the wise decision to auto-draft. Should we put it to a vote? Auto-draft your team or draft your own team? Which one's going to have a higher rate of success? Bill?
I need Jalen Rose to give me an answer.
That's unfortunate. We'll get back to you. Continue.
Joel Embiid, with Kobe's newfound fiance and his head in the clouds, it appears that with these new priorities, this could be the weakest title defense since the 2012 Dallas Mavericks.
Which brings us to another question. Most lackluster defense. Kobe, this year, 2012 Mavericks. I don't know. I vote Mavericks, but that's just me.
Jalen, where do I vote? I don't know. Joel Embiid. Kobe is already starting the season in the hole because Josh Gordon decided that he didn't want to be the best keeper in our league. On that criminal note, Kobe was also the one who had Aaron Hernandez on his team before the unfortunate incident that took place 2 years ago.
Well, Bill, as a league full of Aggies, we now consider this a tradition. So tune in next year to find out which one of Kobe's players went to prison.
Pick number 3.
Third pick is Lambs.
Joel Embiid. Those who live by the quarterback die by the quarterback. Leslie Ann has always preached to anyone who would listen the value of having a dominant quarterback. And 2 years ago, she latched on to the best in the business, Aaron Rodgers, who led her to the best overall record in the league for 2012, sort of like the 2008 Boston Celtics. But this last year, the chickens finally came home to roost for Leslie Ann. One broken clavicle, and her season was over. Sort of like Rajon Rondo tearing his ACL 2 years ago for the Celtics.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, I will say, we can't exactly blame her for latching on to Aaron Rodgers, but she would like it to be noted that actually she did only miss the playoffs by a single game with Case Keenum as the starting quarterback. And also that she still holds Steven Jackson personally responsible for the failures of last year.
Joel Embiid. And that actually is believable because 3 years ago, Leslie Ann won the inaugural league championship with Tim Tebow as her starting quarterback. Actually, maybe Leslie Ann needs to rethink how important a quarterback is, after all.
Change your appearance, huh?
Yeah, sleep stand now.
Why?
It's in my rights. You can do that.
That's true. And your hat's turned around too.
That's also within my rights.
Pick number 2.
Ooh. It's Trey.
Oh my God.
For Trey Williams, 2013 will always be the year of the inexplicable trade.
Joel Embiid. Trey went rogue at the end of round 1 last year, foregoing a running back for the dynamic tag team of Brandon Marshall and A.J. Green.
True. And then he traded away that team, no one knows why, for 10 cents on the dollar, eliminating himself from the playoffs.
He basically traded his playoff spot to Nick and Corey.
Basically.
That's essentially what happened. And so Trey has missed the playoffs both years he's been in the league, so we don't have a ton of faith in him at this point.
No, actually, it will be interesting to see this year who has more wins, Trey or Charlie Strong.
It's close. I'd say they probably end up down 4 or 5 wins each.
Let's put it to a vote. Trey Williams, Charlie Strong. I vote Trey Williams.
Probably Trey Williams. Because
at least we know Trey Williams will rely on his own ideas rather than just copying everyone else.
Ever since you changed your outfit to look like that, I've seen a lot of people around the country looking like that.
Turn down? For what? It's the last pick. We know what's going to happen.
We do know what's going to happen. This is a national tragedy, what's about to happen here. I just want everybody to know that. A national tragedy.
First pick is Colin.
And this is Colin Cowherd with Johnny Manziel. See you later.
The training wheels are off this year. Colin basically had a handicap last year as he was handed a team with Marshawn Lynch as a keeper from the 3rd round.
Joel Embiid, Colin's going to have to actually do his own work this year. We can expect him to trash talk incessantly about his sure-to-be-awful fantasy team, complain that everyone in the league has conspired against him, and accuse everyone of cheating.
Yes, and Colin's allotted fantasy time is sure to decrease again this season with the arrival of his second son,
Joel Embiid. And we know Colin is excited to meet baby number 2, but we think he's even more excited to have another excuse for why he's so awful at fantasy.
Thanks again for tuning in. It's been real. Hopefully it was helpful and informative. Do not forget the draft will be August 16th. That's a Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
This was so awesome. I love this more than every person at ESPN in Grantland that is not myself or my friend Jalen. And you, I kind of like you too, Michelle. You're cool.
Thanks.
I like you more than Aaron Andrews.
Everyone does, Bill. For Bill Simmons, Michelle Beadle, we will see you next year.
Only 3 more months till NBA playoffs. Yeah!